You're watching Business Today Television. This is Market Today. I'm Sakshi Batra and with me is Shail Bhatnagar. Well, it was a terrific Tuesday on D Street yesterday with the Sensex crossing the milestone 75,000 for the very first time. The Nifty also scaled 22,700 mark. But at the end of the day, both these indices did close in the red, looking at profit booking at higher levels. The Nifty Bank also nearly scaled 49,000 but did fall off the peak. But whether this is a pause or a sign of exhaustion at higher levels or just another breather before the uptrend resumes again. All of these questions will be answered over the course of next 90 minutes with our guests who will be joining us as well. In the meanwhile, good morning to all our viewers and good morning to you, Shail.
A very good morning to all our viewers, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome on Market Today. Let's start our commentary with the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. We are at the moment facing a lot of resistance as far as the Nifty is concerned at 22,800 levels. Remember, today is a special day because tomorrow is a holiday. The weekly expiry of the Nifty has been shifted a day in advance, which is today, and it syncs with the weekly expiry of the Bank Nifty. Now, the Nifty chart is right there in front of you. We see fairly strong resistance at about 22,750, 22,800 on the options chain as well as on the monthly options chain within the Nifty. Now, the two most important things that will work in the favor of bulls today is the SkyMet prediction. This is a private weather forecaster who says that this year's monsoon will be normal and will be 102% of the long-term average. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the most important predictions for the coming 2 or 3 months, and it is on this that the Nifty and the Bank Nifty will gyrate over the next 1 or 2 months. Given the fact that this is a positive prediction and the reason that the Nifty has been up by about 800 points since the March 20th low of 21,780, my view is that we'll see a bounce in the Nifty in early morning trades, just as the Gift Nifty is predicting, and from then on, because it's the weekly expiry, you will see a lot of theta decay happening in options. We'll be keeping in view the 21,700 call which is set to expire today. We'll try and sell that in early trades after the gap up. The fact is that a truncated week and the fact that we've run up very sharply both on the Nifty and the Bank Nifty will prompt a lot of traders to book profit and the smart ones to go on a selling spree as far as the Nifty is concerned. For the intraday trade, if the Nifty dips towards 22,550, 22,500, that's opportunity to buy intraday, but be very careful. 22,750, 22,700 is a very strong resistance, not only on the options charts but also within the options chain, so you need to be very careful. So we are looking for a flat trade today after a decent gap up, given the fact it's the weekly expiry, and we will play for theta decay as far as the Nifty and the Bank Nifty is concerned. 22,500 is a very strong support for the bulls, as also 22,650. Let's see how it makes out, and after that, after the first initial 15-20 days, 15-20 minutes, we'll see how the picture is. Remember, this week's expiry has been driven by banks. HDFC Bank, if you see, is up 4.1% during the week. Karnataka Bank is up 2.7%. ICICI Bank is up 2.3%. and Axis Bank is up 1.3% in the past 5 trading sessions. So this is what has caused the Bank Nifty to also move above 48,700. Both the Nifty and the Bank Nifty are actually above their 5 and 9 day exponential moving averages, and therefore there is a chance that you just might see a decent bite of profit booking. So April 12th, which is Friday, we are looking for TCS to begin its quarterly earnings for corporate India, as also the listing of Bharti Hexacom. Today is likely to be a quiet day as far as markets are concerned, a gap up and then selling pressure because of options premia getting sucked up. Sakshi.
Right, let's look at how the global cues are shaping up for the trade today. So, as far as the US markets are concerned, the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 posted modest gains on Tuesday, a day ahead of the major inflation data, weighed down by financial stocks largely as investors also braced for major US banks to kick off the earnings report season starting Friday. The tech-heavy Nasdaq did see a more significant increase, but the S&P 500 was just about 1/10% higher. The Dow just ended flat with a minor loss in the overnight trading session. As far as the Asian markets are concerned, they mostly were seen, trading with losses in the early trading action as Japan's corporate inflation did climb in March, and the rate decisions are awaited from New Zealand and Thailand's central banks as well. So Nikkei down about 0.1%, flattish trade on Kospi, Hang Seng up by 1.4% and 0.3% loss for the Shanghai index as well. Trends in the GIFT Nifty do indicate a firm start for the broader markets in India with about 55 points of an upside or a 0.2% of an uptick. We'll see whether that also holds on. That's going to be important to track today. As far as the flows are concerned, however, the foreign institutional investor did sell shares worth about 590 crores rupees odd worth of stocks in yesterday's trading session, while the domestic institutional investors bought about 2,257 crore rupees worth of stocks. In terms of the key stocks that I'm keeping an eye out on today, Paytm will be in focus as Surinder Chawla, the MD and the CEO of Paytm Payments Bank, has resigned effective June 26. So the stock could be in focus. Paisalo Digital will be in focus. The company's AUM has grown 32% year on year to 4,622 crores in the fourth quarter of FY24, while the disbursements have jumped about 38% to 3,588 crores. From the pharma pack, I'm keeping an eye out on Lupin. The company has launched the first generic version of Orcia in US. That's a drug, of doxycycline that you can talk about. Of course, Avenue Supermarts is going to be in focus. The company has opened a new store in Bengaluru, and the total number of stores do stand at 366 now for the firm. Shyam Metalics is going to be in focus. The company has announced establishment of a new stainless steel hot rolled coils facility at its existing plant in Odisha. Apart from this, I'm also keeping an eye out on Shopper Stop. The company has collaborated with East My Trip for sponsored holidays. We'll see how that plays out. ICICI Prudential, the company has received GST order worth 20.5 crores from Gujarat tax authorities for FY19. Exide Industries will be in focus. The company is going to be acquiring 26% stake in Clean Max Arcadia for 5.3 crores. So acquisition news there. Protean eGov Technologies is another one that I'm keeping an eye out on. This is a Mumbai-based Protean eGov Technologies company which has announced the plans to launch its QIP, and this comprises of a base issue size of 170 crores and a green shoe option of 75 crores as well. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Meanwhile, our guest has joined us. Gaurang Shah is with us. He's the Senior Vice President, Geojit Financial Services. Very good morning to you, Gaurang, and great to have you with us. Well, right after we've actually scaled record high levels on the Sensex and the Nifty, what's next that you believe? Do you think that the markets are getting weary, tired now, exhaustion stepping in, or do we have enough and more steam left for scaling higher levels?
Thank you, Sakshi, and morning to you and Shail and all the viewers. So I think last Wednesday we were discussing 22,500 if I'm not mistaken, and a takeoff of that I had mentioned would take us to 27,650, 22,650, 22,700. And yesterday we decisively had 22,700 in our pockets.
That's true.
And this week, Monday, via our Market Outlook YouTube video, I had given an outlook saying that there seems to be a little bit of fatigue and one can expect a little bit of profit booking, downward movement, intraday. It could be, or maybe it may last for about 1 or 2 days. And the fact of the matter is, Sakshi, that in the last 10 days, we have gained almost about 660 odd points on the Nifty spot. And given the levels and the events which are lined up, again, like I believe you mentioned, it's going to be a truncated week. Tomorrow we have an holiday. Next week, again, we have a day short. We have holiday next week also on Wednesday. That is on 17th. So I think it's only prudent to expect a little bit of consolidation. I would not say that the markets are tired or there is some kind of a fatigue, but prudent to expect a little bit of profit booking, bringing in a little bit of sanity, and of course giving opportunities for new investors to come into the market via that small correction that I'm talking about.
Good morning to you, Gaurang, and a very warm welcome on Market today. Always a pleasure to host you. How do you see this SkyMet's prediction of a normal monsoon this year, given the kind of rally that we've already had, and the fact that last year's monsoon, as well as its distribution, was, let's just use a pragmatic word, less than satisfactory? How do you see this monsoon forecast?
Encouraging, I would say that after the erratic monsoon that we, which had its impact, Shell, on different sectors, especially on the FMCG, with the kind of subdued volume demand that came in from tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities, semi-urban and rural India. Decent, and Shell with more than 70% of the population dependent on agri activity and having 140 crore people to feed, I think it is only prudent that we ask for the blessings of rain god and not to have an erratic monsoon. It will only not only help the agri sector, it will also help spending, it will help income levels come up, it will bring up a lot of section of that population which is BPL to come above that particular level, and of course the overall growth that is dependent. So my sense is that this is a pleasant news from the Met Department. I hope it stays this way with no radical or serious changes at the high seas in terms of temperature building up and then scattering the monsoon clouds. So it's good news, and I hope it will build up. But before that, Shell, I think we'll have to sweat it out.
Yes, we have to sweat it out. Well, you are in Mumbai, therefore you have this benefit of humidity, but up north we are very, very sanguine. Why prices of Voltas, why prices of Blue Star, why prices of Symphony are going up? Because the demand for air conditioners is through the roof. All ACs have started a week ago. The temperature during the day is in its late 30s. It's hitting 40 at least in Delhi, and things are only going to deteriorate from here. Be that as it may, Friday starts the beginning of the fourth quarter earnings. Gaurang, TCS kicks it up. What are your expectations from corporate India, and how do you see TCS?
So I honestly, Share, I'll be very frank. I am going in with lower, subdued, or not so much in terms of the IT environment, and of course the backdrop of events under which the IT sector is going to deliver its fourth and final quarter numbers this financial year. I only hope that it's going to be better. Of course, we've had, I believe last week or early this week, Monday, we had some brokerage houses upping their targets as far as some of the large cap and mid cap IT names are concerned. But I would also, in the same breath, mention that we have been positive as a brokerage house on IT for the last many, many years, even the last 2, 3 years, which are difficult, and quite a large section of the market participants were telling you to stay away. We were the ones who maintained our positive stance, and we were mentioning that corrections in the stocks, in the IT index, are opportunities to look at IT sector, subject to provided you have a longest time horizon. We are also of the belief, Shell, that starting this new financial year, 1st April 2024, you are going to see slow, steady improvement in the earnings environment. So as far as TCS or any other name is concerned, yeah, I personally feel, Shell, that some mid-cap IT names might deliver a pleasant surprise, though they were also a little bit under the weather for the third quarter. But I'm going with absolutely flat to a little bit downward expectation. If they deliver something good, then we'll party.
Okay. Well, Gaurang, the other space that I wanted to draw your attention is the entire metal space, and where we are seeing a stupendous rally unfold. How would you really look at it? There are divergent views really coming in as far as metal space is concerned. Some feel it's just a cyclical move. Some feel that, finally Chinese economy is coming out of a downturn, and therefore we could see a sustained move on the upside. How should one be really approaching the momentum that is being built in the steel space?
Sakshi, for the love of God, I think we have to remove this dependency on China. I mean, it's been And I have mentioned it very clearly. Whatever comes out of China, I don't take it with a pinch of salt, but a fist of salt. And I don't believe them. Absolutely. Nothing credible about it. So yeah, you will get rallies. Of course, the last two data points that we came in from China were supportive, and that's why we saw an elevated rally, and that has continued for my surprises, to be very honest. But I think once the election is done and dusted, and government is back to men at work, uh, Nirman or infrastructure creation in terms of port, airports, dedicated freight corridors, expressways, highways, housing for all sections of people, uh, my real estate sector picking up, capex for the private sector picking up, will see demand for metal and cement. Cement more so, and then followed by metals. So we have few names that we have in the coverage universe. So Tata Steel, JSW Steel, Hindalco, and JSPL, Sakshi. These are the four names that we are positive. But I would also, at the same breath, say that if you're looking at longish investment time horizon in the metals, then please have at least 1.5, 2 year kind of time horizon. One thing positive, Sakshi, is that the input cost or the raw material cost has come down, which has added the margins in terms of profitability.
Okay, we'll keep an eye out on that. Apart from this, Gaurang, what are your stock specific ideas you'd like to share with our viewers today?
So I think we started off with the show with earnings comment. Fourth quarter, Friday 12th, we will have a curtain raiser with TCS, followed by the rest of the company, rest of the pack. I would say two names from the financials, banking. One will be public sector bank and one will be a private sector bank. Public sector bank, we have just re-rated targets for Canara Bank. And if I'm not mistaken, last couple of quarters for Canara Bank have been very interesting in terms of expectation coming above the street estimates. So first one would be Canara Bank. I think you can look for 700 plus over a longish kind of time horizon. And the second one from the private sector bank would be Axis Bank. Has been a stock which is trying to consolidate and move out of its resistance levels. I think moment it takes off 1100, 1120 decisively, you might have that stock going towards 1350, 1400. Mind you, these are, approximate targets. Since fourth quarter earnings are just around the corner, we will revisit them once the earnings unfold.
Okay. Axis Bank in particular has had a very large block deal yesterday. Something like 3 crore shares were changed hands. One of the original holders of the stock, Bain Capital, sold a decent chunk in the market yesterday with absolutely no discount to current market price, and a host of new names has stepped in particular Goldman Sachs. Be that as it may, Canara Bank is something worth discussing as far as charts are also concerned. Remember, if you look at the year to date performance on Canara Bank, it is up 39% so far, 608, and every single technical parameter, every single option data on this one points to a further uptick, and it is now Gaurang's fundamental outreach that is giving it another degree of positivity. Gaurang, the other stock that I wanted to discuss was HDFC Bank. It seems, we are not very certain, that it has thrown away its shackles and has been the best performer among the private sector banks last week, at about 1550, trading half its long-term book value and half its price earnings ratio over the last 10 years. How do you see HDFC Bank now?
Honestly, Shail, I think at 1400 we've discussed this many, many times, and we have constantly maintained one thing, that
Yes,
difficult
absolutely.
times will come not on sectors but company specific, be it banking, be it auto, be it IT, be it FMCG, or be it any other large cap, mid cap company from any other sector. There are, issues which have been troubling HDFC Bank. First, the great merger of the big two, then followed by a downward rating by one of the, I guess, foreign entities in terms of margin pressures, followed by third quarter number which was below the weather, and then a huge consolidation between 1400 or thereabouts, and now at 1555. Shell, our conviction has only played out well at 1400, at 1450, even at 1555, where the stock closed yesterday. We would recommend a buy and a hold in case if you got invested. And if for someone who is wanting to get into it fresh or maybe average, we would recommend both buying a fresh as well as averaging. And I'm quite sure with the fourth quarter advanced numbers that we had, not only for HDFC Bank, but a lot of other private sector bank, public sector bank, and strong NBFCs. Our sense is that financials are going to perform quite well, not only for this quarter, but couple of quarters.
Right. We are welcoming Mr. Amar Singh from Angel Broking. He's the Senior Vice President for Research. Good morning to you, Amar. We'll just do a quick detour into the pre-opening prices, ladies and gentlemen, and then get to Amar's understanding of the market. As predicted, you have a bounce on the Nifty, about 81 points higher, 22,723. And this is primarily against the backdrop of a very strong prediction on the Indian monsoon. It is the weekly expiry of the Nifty and the Bank Nifty today. Let us see how traders look into it. Now let's look at prices. It's a sea of green as far as the top 10 index heavyweights are concerned. Infosys is opening a percent higher at 1509. Remember, we are tracking the 1500 call for you. Let's look at Reliance, flat, 5 rupees lower, 2921. Let's look at HDFC Bank, 5 rupees higher, 1553. The top gainer as far as index heavyweights are concerned is Hindustan Unilever, 1% higher, 2288. Remember, a good monsoon helps FMCG players because rural demand gets boosted. Apart from that, Axis Bank is percent higher, 1090. What is ICICI Bank doing? Flat, 1100. Let's shift focus to the FNO space and look at how stocks have performed. In terms of gainers, it's Lupin, 2.7% higher, 1648. No stopping Vedant, 2% higher, 345. Metals continue to shine. Hindalco, 1.6% higher, 598. In terms of the most active counters, ICICI 2.6% lower, 1078. We'll revisit these prices. A very quick look at the NSE 500. Amongst the top gainers here are Triveni Turbine, 4% higher, 571. If Gorang is here, how can JK Lakshmi Cement disappoint? 2.7% higher, 830 for you, ladies and gentlemen. The entire wealth management space is abuzz. 361 Wealth Management, 2.8% higher, 740. Nuvama Wealth, 5330, 2.5% higher. I believe Amar is yet to join us. Okay. Gorang, coming to you. How do you see the wealth management space? You are an integral part of it. Lots of stocks doing phenomenally well. Motilal Oswal Financial Services, even Geojit is listed. Angel One, Anand Rathi. How do you see this space, and how is your bonus looking this year?
I hope by the blessing of Lord Almighty he'll come out well, and well wishes with friends like you and Sakshi. I hope it is good enough. We'll party, of course. I'll come to Delhi. But having said that, without naming any companies here, I'll say one thing is that if you expect the Indian markets to do well over the next many years, then all those entities which are associated with Indian equity markets, now whether they are service-oriented companies like depositories, like platform providers, again, I will not mention specific names, or intermediaries like brokerages, they will also do well. And last 2 years, if you actually go to see the data points, not only are the numbers looking very strong in terms of DP accounts, but also in terms of client registration. Even if you look at the mutual fund side, the footfalls in SIPs have improved. Footfalls as far as lump sum investment via mutual fund has gone up considerably. And at ground level, Shell, when I interact with people, what I understand is earlier, investors used to fear when the corrections used to seep in. But now the entire approach has changed. People are willing to take that additional step of risk not only are they wanting to stay committed, but they are wanting to even bring in additional capital if the market gives them opportunity in form of correction. So that's the kind of reality that we are facing. And of course, I was reading in some data points about over the weekend. The retail participation, as far as the Indian equity market is concerned, is only going to look wonderful as we go forward from here.
So, ab ki baar 1 lakh is what that you will say on Sensex. Then, are you keeping a firm eye on that one?
Honestly, Sakshi, I never put a number, because it's just a number. I mean, for me, whether it is 70,000, 75,000, or even 1 lakh. I did one simple exercise some time back. So at current levels, if you even take 12 or 15% compounding per annum on Sensex and Nifty, I think it's a simple mathematics. You guys can also do it. You will be surprised in the next 3 to 5 years where we are going to reach. So 1 lakh is also just a number to me. I think we can talk beyond that.
Okay, we can talk beyond that, and for sure we are going to be partying even before that number hits, because it's just a number for you. So we are waiting for you to come to Delhi and party with us. Let's also welcome Amar Singh now joining us, Senior Vice President Research at Angel One. Amar, very good morning to you. We were talking about celebrating those milestone levels with Gaurang. Do tell us, what is your own sense? Of course, we are again seeing upticks come back into the markets today. Your sense of where are the markets really headed? The key indices, Nifty Bank, on the expiry day for sure?
Yeah, thank you for having me, Sakshi. Very good morning to everyone. Looking at the index, we've been bullish on the index despite the corrections also, because if you look at the long-term structure on the monthly charts, they've been very strong. Yeah, weekly charts, intermediate term trend, we did see some sort of consolidation, some sort of correction in heavyweights like HDFC Bank and all that. But overall, the structure was still quite solid, and despite some correction in the IT stocks initially, but other heavyweights like ICICI Bank, Reliance, they were holding quite firm. And the broader breadth of the market, that continues to be very strong. If you look at the stocks which are trading above their 200-day moving average, that's in excess of almost 70%. So that tells me that the broad structure of the market remains bullish despite the some of the knee-jerk reactions which we've seen in terms of mid-cap, small-cap. Now, talking about the index. If you look at Nifty, Bank Nifty, yeah, we do see heightened volatility on expiry days, be it weekly or monthly. Nifty is expected to trade higher, and earlier the top which Nifty had made was around 22,500 or 525, 530. So that has been taken out. And Nifty is trading significantly higher above that. And also on the daily charts, we are seeing some positive momentum, and the momentum is increasing day by day. So that tells me a couple of things. One is that those who were short, they are getting squared off. So the shorts are now not very comfortable getting into fresh positions, though they are being built. But at the same time, given the market breadth being so positive, and also the global trends and global macros have also definitely helped there. So having said that, I would say if you look at Nifty, again, Nifty or Bank Nifty, it's more of a buying on any dip. The levels to watch out, and the best part is that we are seeing a breakout in Bank Nifty, which is a very positive sign. So that tells me that this rally which has started, that could continue further. The levels to watch out for as far as Nifty is concerned, I would say 22,800, 850, that's the immediate zone of resistance, whereas on the downside, 22,500 to 550, 600, that's a zone of support. The other interesting thing which I see is India VIX. So despite the overall, I would say, market moving up, India VIX is in very comfortable place around 11, between 11 and 12. So that tells me that investors and traders are not very much concerned with regard to markets trading all-time highs. So that's definitely a positive sign. And most of the macros, as well as the broad indicators, market breadth indicators, they are displaying positive sentiments. It's a buy on dips.
Okay. Good morning to you, Amarji. Okay. Good morning to you, Amarji. How do you see the advent of HDFC Bank? The reason why I ask this, it's sort of thrown away its shackles, and all of last week's major performance on the Nifty and the Bank Nifty was mainly because of HDFC Bank. What are your thoughts on this one?
If you look at HDFC Bank, see, HDFC Bank, honestly, if you ask me, really hasn't I would say has disappointed investors if you look at from a few years perspective, because this is one which has consolidated, not able to trade above the 1700, 1750 zone, had corrected all the way towards 1350, 1370 zone. So that tells me it's more of a consolidation. Even if you ask me today, on the long-term charts, there is clear-cut consolidation in HDFC Bank. So what happened was that when HDFC corrected from almost, if you look at the levels, so somewhere from around 20 levels, it corrected almost to 1360, 1360, 1365. So that was a very good buying opportunity. So those who wanted to go long in HDFC, that was a good level. As far as the current levels are concerned, I would say on the upside, 1570, 1600, that's a zone of resistance where HDFC is likely to run into. It's more of a trendless stock. If I compare it with one of the other private sector stocks like ICICI, here it's a different story altogether. It's a completely different story as far as the charts technically, even from a long-term perspective. It's a different ball game altogether. So HDFC is more of consolidation. We'll see some sort of up move, and then again the stock getting into consolidation till we see some really, I would say, something changing fundamentally, and which is being reflected in the prices. So that's not being depicted as of now.
Okay. Amar, metals look to be in the positive run-up even today. In the pre-opening space, we are looking at metals again, shining bright, 0.8% of a move on the Nifty metals, and a lot of stocks from the top 5 list as far as the Nifty is concerned. It's going to be Hindalco, Tata Steel, JSW Steel that are looking to inch higher again. SAIL is going to be looking positive. NMDC has settled in the green, about 1% higher. How are you looking at the metal space? Is this a space that you'll be interested in for a positional play?
Yeah, so looking at the metal space, I would say metals have definitely performed exceedingly well. And if you look at the bellwether names like Tata Steel, for example, it was earlier not able to breach the 150 zone. It's trading significantly higher towards 170. So, and the trend, and the best part is the trend is very strong on the long-term charts, on the intermediate term trend, even from a short-term perspective. Looking at the other stocks, metal names, like if I look at a SAIL, again, SAIL is very strong. If I go back in time and look at SAIL, so in June of 2021, the stock had made 151. And from there, the stock had corrected all the way towards 63. Again, it's breached that all-time high. So if I look at, the all-time high is around 293. So that's almost 17, 18 years prior. But the recent highs of 150, that's been taken out. So that tells me that the structure definitely is changing for the metal stocks. And primarily, it's more to do with a lot with China, Chinese economy, and the way the metals have. If you look at the metals, also base metals, they've rallied significantly. So that is also helping all these stocks. And if I look at one of the other stocks, Hindalco, Hindalco is again very strong technically on the charts, but it is still to take out its earlier highs of 614.50. So, but other of these like SAIL and Tata Steel, they are trading at record highs, and the trend remains positive. So corrections can be bought into in the metal stocks.
Okay. Gaurang, let me just take your view on Bharti Airtel and how would you really look at this one? There's a fresh brokerage report that's now pegged the targets higher than 1500 on the stock right now. How would you really look at this space, telecom space, and of course the monopoly nature that Bharti Airtel is doing as of now?
Second largest player, Sakshi, in India after Jio, and consistently gaining market share along with subscriber base, thanks to the gift given by Vodafone Idea to Bharti Airtel as well as Jio. ARPUs, our sense, and according to the statements of verbatim given by the management of Bharti Airtel especially, I think by year end we should at least see 10 to 15% uptick as far as ARPUs are concerned. So you will have a decent run rate in terms of earnings. IPO of Bharti Hexacom has actually given a tailwind positive for the stock price of Bharti Airtel. And right from the levels of sub 500 closer to 400, when the stock was not doing much with a lot of headwinds in terms of African operations being a kind of a sore thumb on the balance sheet, if you will, Sakshi, has now turned out to be quite a contributor to the balance sheet. And all those headwinds that were there in terms of turbulence is now a thing of the past. So my sense is that yeah, this stock can even go towards 1500 if you have a longish time horizon. Let me give a disclosure. We have positive coverage on the fundamental side as far as Bharti Airtel is concerned.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the prices are upon us. The Nifty is 57 points higher. We'll be keeping an eye out on the 22,700 Nifty call expiring today. The 500 index is 60 points higher. A green tick across the board. 48,750 on the Bank Nifty, flat as flat can be. Nifty IT index is 115 points higher. 35,183. A quick watch on what the major stocks are doing. Info 9 rupees higher, 1504. Reliance 21 rupees higher. This is very, very interesting, 2951. And we have HDFC Bank 5 rupees lower, 1542. I want to see what Axis and ICICI Bank are doing. Axis is flat, 1081. ICICI Bank is 3 rupees higher, 1109, which is the top gainer in among the index heavyweights. Tata Motors 1% higher, 1019. Reliance is now almost a percent higher. L&T and HDFC Bank are laggards, but nothing to be worried about. It's a very, very strong opening in line with what the GIFT Nifty is suggesting, and probably also keeping in mind the monsoon prediction that has come in. A quick view on F&O. What's happening here in terms of metals? Okay, Vedanta. Not only is it up 3.8%, it is also the second most active traded counter within F&O, almost 100 crores done in terms of transactions. You have Tata Steel and Steel Authority, both of them 1.5, 1.8% higher. Indigo fresh high 37.20, 2.2% higher. We'll also look at the top losers in F&O to balance out our view. Indus Star 1.7% lower, 322. Divi's Lab 1.4% lower, 3754. Nothing to be worried about. This is the top performing Nifty stock in the month of April. Bit of profit booking. Balrampur Chini 1% lower, 388. A quick detour to NSE 500, and let's look at the top gainers here. Policy Bazaar 5.9% higher, 1379. There is a very well known research report from a major house today predicting better prices on Policy Bazaar, something like 1700. We'll keep that in mind. GMDC 2.9% higher, 406. Apollo Tyres 1.9% higher. JK Paper 1.9% higher. Lemon Tree 1.3% higher. We have Godavari Power and Ispat 1.8% higher, 770. A quick view from Amar. The pre-open trades and open trades are upon us. Amar, anything that catches your fancy?
Yeah, I would say if you look at the stocks, Exide is one stock which has really, I would say, rallied significantly over the last few days, and it has taken out some major zone of resistance, because earlier it was not able to reach the 350, 360 zone, and currently it's around 380. So this is one stock which is very strong on the long-term charts. It's broken out of major zone of resistance. So any pullback in the stock can be a buying opportunity. The upside target is around 430 levels. So if one wants to, the stop loss needs to be below 350 levels. So any pullback in the stock can be a very good buying opportunity in Exide.
Okay. Right, Gaurang, of course, we were talking about how you'll be visiting Delhi, and I'm sure a lot of people are already planning their travels for this summer as well. How are you looking at stocks like Indigo? And again, Indigo is in focus today, 2.5% higher in trade. Is this a space that will give us more opportunity to make money, and they will also make profits during the summer travels?
Well, I only hope that the LCC model fares start reflecting in the flight ticket prices that Indigo offers. I mean, even it's nowhere close to the low cost carrier tag that Indigo carries along with it. It's more of a full-fledged service airline. So on the fundamental side, have been positive, Sakshi, on interglobe aviation, and I think there is a lot of turbulence in terms of Vistara, Air India. We had issues in the past with Go First. Before that, we had issues with SpiceJet also in terms of curtailment of flights due to certain reasons. I was just reading a report this morning that certain pilots have actually their opinions is different from what the management's opinion is, and they have actually tendered resignation. I don't know how far this story is true, but there was some story doing the rounds in the market. Uh, and whatever loss of other airlines is gain for airline like Interglobe Aviation, that is Indigo. The only problem, Sakshi, is that they have some number of aircrafts on the ground awaiting repairs as far as the Plath and Whitney engines are concerned. They have slowly started to add new aircrafts, but the number is just trickling in. Having said that, I think if somebody is looking at long-term time horizon, one of the company in the aviation sector that we have remained positive right from the IPO is Interglobe Aviation. So hold on to it, and if you don't have it, try to look at downward trends or corrections to get into the stock.
Okay, so probably that TINA factor aiding Interglobe Aviation along with the fundamentals that it has constantly been building on the gains on. Apart from this, the hospitality space, is that something that you're looking at? Again, there are news flows that Lemon Tree has added some more hotels. There's a lot of acquisition, newer hotels opening in various places now from this space. A lot of action happening there.
So both goes hand in hand, aviation as well as the hospitality. And there are very strong names, Sakshi, in this particular sector, that is hospitality. One name that we are positive is Indian Hotels. There are other strong names. Of course, because of the coverage not being there, I won't be able to take give any advice in terms of buy, sell, hold. But I can at least say that there are strong names. You have names like Taj GVK, you have names like EIH, you have names like Lemon Tree Hotels that you rightly mentioned. And there are a lot of opportunities that are coming in the way of hospitality industry, not only in terms of India turning out to be a travel destination. And thanks to a prime minister who just went and sat on a seashore, and one country was drowned in terms of their tourism
Right, sir.
activity. So we remain positive on Indian hotels.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, today is the weekly expiry of the Nifty, and we'll be paying attention to how theta decay happens. For you, you have the 22,700 call right there, which is expiring today. The price, I think, is somewhere in the vicinity of 44, 45 rupees. Let me see whether we have that on the screen or not. Yes, remember theta decays, which means time lapses out of options on the last day of the expiry. Keep this price in view. If the Nifty ends somewhere like 22,700 or even below that, then this call will go down to zero. Therefore, an option selling opportunity on weekly expiry days is something to be looked at. We'll keep an eye out on the 22,700 Nifty call expiring today. At the moment, it's at 46 rupees. Keep an eye out on this. What else is buzzing in the market? Well, it's only and only PSU stocks. The broader market advanced decline is now 1:1, 966 stocks in the green, 900 in the red. That is how the theme is structured. The Nifty Metals Index is 1% higher, 89.88. The Realty Index is 0.5% higher, 960. Energy, auto indices are also in the green. As far as the broader indices are concerned, the Nifty 500 is flat. The advanced decline is again 1:1. In the Nifty Midcap 100, which is 1/3% higher at 50,029, 66 stocks are in the green out of 100. And in the small cap index, the small cap index is in the red. Only 42 stocks out of 100 are in the red. Amar, anything that catches your fancy in the early opening quotes of the market? Anything that you would like to see? The Bank Nifty is already negative, 19 points lower, 48,710. Amar, to you.
Yeah, I would say that Vedanta in the metal space looks quite promising because the way the stock has rallied, it's rallied significantly though from almost 280 levels recently, as recent as 1st of April, and we are 10th of April. So the stock has rallied by almost 20%. So the levels to watch out for the stock, because if we go back in time, so the stock was earlier finding it very difficult to trade above the 340 levels or so. So now the stock is significantly trading above that level. Now the next level for the stock, if you ask me, and it needs to sustain over the 360 mark. That's the level to watch out for. If the stock sustains over the 360 level, then the stock has a potential to rally almost 8 to 10% from the current level. So that's one view one can look at this particular stock, Vedanta.
Okay, let's again look at some of the stocks that are in momentum in the F&O space. BHEL is ticking higher, 2.9% higher in the F&O space, and along with it, a lot of other PSU names are also inching higher from the basket. Again, you have the trio of IOC, HPCL, BPCL up and about. You have ONGC and Oil India. From the upstream giants that are moving up as well. From the defense giants, you do have HAL that's up by about 0.5% in trade today. Power space is again buzzing. NTPC, Power Grid is up in trade. Coal India is up in trade as well. You have the Power Finances, REC, that's up and about in trade as well. Then you also have some of the other stocks, Container Corporation, that's up by about 0.8%. So there's a whole host of stocks from the PSU basket that are ticking higher. Gaurang, BHEL for you, where do you see the stock really headed?
So I think we discussed some time back, Sakshi, in terms
Yeah.
of investment idea. Currently, I have no clarity in terms of what our position is since we are approaching the Q4 earnings season. But let me say this one thing about stocks, whether they are government owned or private, these stocks are going to perform for multi-year kind of rally, given the kind of order books that is going to come through. Now, maybe stocks since they have rallied so much, they may go into a bout of profit booking, consolidation. But if you don't have hurry, if you have time by your side, then I think you should continue to hold strong names in the defense universe, whether it is public or private. Some time back, I think I had given a recommendation on BHEL. Currently, I can't say anything because I don't have clarity what is our rating right.
Okay, fair enough. Amar, I'd like you to look at the oil and gas space. I've discussed this many times over with Gaurang, so it'll be refreshing to get your view as well on the oil and gas space. Crude oil prices have settled lower below that $90 a mark for 2 days in a row. So some sanity prevailing, but we do not know how the things are going to pan out now. How would you really position yourself in the entire basket?
So if we look at the oil and gas space, if I first talk about ONGC, we are seeing that the stock is in for consolidation. There isn't much of a trend in the particular stock. If I look at BPCL, there again we are seeing that the trend, long-term trend remains positive, but the intermediate and the short-term trend that is more or less sideways. If I look at the other stock, HPCL, again, all of them are having a similar I would say structure technically on the charts, and it appears that more or less we could witness some consolidation in these particular stocks.
Okay, got that. Let's again look at some of the other buzzing spaces. Real estate space is another one that is, there is no let up in this one. Today, there are some other names that are springing higher like Kolte Patil, that's also moving up in trade. And I remember Gaurang talking about this stock, about, few months back. And of course, this entire space has been in the buzz, and we are seeing shifting of, stocks taking the lead as far as the real estate space is concerned. But the space constantly is buzzing. It was the top mover in the financial year 2024, 140% kind of a surge that we saw on the Nifty Realty, and a whole host of these stocks have actually given handsome returns to investors. How would you look at this space now, Gaurang, and what is the best way to approach it, since every day we see newer names really taking the lead?
So I'll add one more thing to what you have said, Sakshi. I think yesterday Godrej Properties sold record number of sales for a particular project. Before that, these are not recommendations. I'm just giving you data in terms of large deals that have happened. Suntech Reality scored one of the highest sales. Before that, in NCR region, DLF sold somewhere close to about 7 crore tag prices as far as the residential blocks are concerned. In terms of performance, they are going to continue to perform well. Strong names I would recommend to be a part of your portfolio. But since interest rates are also at a stagnant space, and the statement made by the Honorable RBI Governor of the presence of an elephant in the room in terms of inflation, and if that is going to kind of ease off a little bit in the next couple of quarters and come to the level of comfort zone, then you might have interest rate cuts come through, which will be positive not only for real estate sector but also for housing finance companies. Uh, our target prices have been in place for names like DLF, names like Godrej Properties, etc. So those who have low risk appetite can book profits. One name that we are positive in terms of longish time horizon on the fundamental side is Prestige. Traditionally Karnataka, Bangalore-based company in the real estate sector, now wanting to branch out and has decent projects in the city of Mumbai also. So this sector is going to do well undoubtedly. But the only problem, Sakshi, is that since it has got a high beta tag along with it, if the correction comes in, this is the first one to go down.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's again focus on the markets as far as the broader indices are concerned. The Nifty is now 70 points higher, 21,711. The Bank Nifty is back in the green, 100 points higher at about 48,835. What is prompting this uptick as far as the index components are concerned? Within the Nifty, it's Reliance, which is contributing about a 30-point uptick. The counter 1.3% higher, 2966. Banks are in strength. ICICI Bank 0.5% higher. Kotak Bank about 1.1% higher. Axis Bank about 0.5% higher. What's pulling the Nifty lower? HDFC Bank, bit of profit booking, 8 points lower, 0.5% down, 1541. Sun Pharma, TCS, DVS Lab, and L&T are the stocks that are minorly in the red. Let's look at the record highs as far as markets are concerned. Remember, this is where money is moving in. No surprises here. Indigo 3770, almost 4% higher. The woes of its competitor Vistara are now acting much more positively on Indigo. Zomato 2.6% higher. National Aluminium 2% higher, 187. EIH Hotels, BEL. Remember, some of these stocks Gaurang has already talked about, in particular the hotel space as also Indigo. Gaurang, coming to you. Fantastic moves coming into stocks like PB Fintech and Zomato. How are you looking at them, and what do you think is driving PB Fintech in particular?
So I think it's the news flow and the buzz around the corner. To be very honest, Shail, I won't be able to give any specific comments since we don't have a coverage. But there was also a feeler from the market participants that there are a lot of entities available online in terms of the business where PB Fintech operates. No specific comments since the coverage is not there, but Zomato continues to be in our coverage for a pretty long period of time. In fact, right from the IPO period where the floor price was about 75 or 76, rallied, came below that IPO price, and now it's hitting all-time high. Contribution from food platform is doing good. Blinkit contribution is looking much, much better and thicker. And I think that's going to grow multifolds in terms of contribution to the balance sheet.
Okay. Amar, coming to you. Technically, what do you think of PB Fintech? Research report coming in today marks it at 1700. What's your gut feel on PB Fintech?
So I don't track that this particular stock.
Okay, not a problem at all. Let's look at how the PSU theme is working out across the markets. It's a combination of metals across the board. So you have metal miners such as GMDC and Vedant doing well. And if you look at how the rest of the PSU theme is working out, you have GMDAC, which is the top gainer, 421 for you, up about 6.7%. Steel Authority up 1.9%. NMDC 3% higher, 235. National Aluminium. So the top 4 out of top 5 are actually metal gainers, or percent higher, 422. Zomato taking it away. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll have a digit change. Amar, by any chance, are you looking at Zomato? Close to 200 now.
Yeah, I would say Zomato is definitely there on the charts because this is one stock which has, I would say, been a multi-bagger. Because if you go back in time, in February of last year, 23, the stock was trading below the 50 mark, and currently it's approaching the 200 mark. So and also the stock has breached its earlier high of 169, which it had made in the last quarter of December 2021. So that clearly tells me that the structure and structurally, if you ask me, the long-term trend, intermediate-term trend, short-term trend, they are all extremely strong and positive. Some of the technical indicators do point towards overheating in the particular stock. But still, there is no signs of a trend change. So I would say rather go with the trend. If you ask me what the levels to watch out for, since the stock is trading at record highs, when a stock trades at record highs, then there is a very good likelihood that the momentum continuing, the stock could rally because earlier high was 170. So roughly, if you look at those levels, 220, 225 is the level where the stock could rally towards. Support for the stock is around 180, right?
Okay. You know, Gaurang, I think the stars are aligned for your travel to Delhi because Zomato is up. Our celebrations will be good. United Spirits is rallying in trade. Varun Beverages is higher in trade. I mean, the entire space is buzzing. It's going to be difficult for you to now pick and choose. Where exactly would you be going for?
Well, I think, come summer and with the kind of temperatures that my good friend Shail was talking about, hitting almost about 38, 40 degrees. So no surprises, Shail, even Mumbai is hitting 38, 40 degrees. And you've been in Mumbai, you know how sweaty it becomes with the kind of weather being so harsh. So I think demand for beverages, whether it is to do with soft drinks or whether it is to do with light alcohol content beverages, names like United Beverages Limited, where we have a coverage as a disclosure. Uh, and of course, you have the coverage. We have coverage on Voltas, Blue Star, Symphony, Whirlpool, to name a few, Sakshi. Uh, Unfortunately, on others, since we don't have a coverage, I won't be able to comment specifically. But I must say, if this is the beginning, then I wonder what end of April and May is going to do.
Oh, yes. We will keep an eye out on that, and fingers crossed for all that heat. We want that all that respite from heat as well, and the heat wave conditions that IMD is predicting. But Amar, to you, just like how we were talking about SkyMet's prediction of normal monsoon, the one space that has been absolutely laggard is the entire FMCG space. How do you really see the FMCG space now playing out? With the harsher heat wave conditions, is it going to be somewhat a buying opportunity for some of these FMCG players?
So looking at the FMCG space, if I talk about the leaders like Britannia, it's not going anywhere. Clearly, that's reflective on the charts. Colgate Palmolive has been an exception, though. It's still strong on the charts, but on the intermediate term trend, we've seen a loss of momentum. So effectively, it means that any correction can be used as a buying opportunity in Colgate Palmolive. If I look at the other FMCG stocks like I would say Hindustan Unilever, again it's a don't touch me type of, because the stock hasn't really delivered. It's not generated returns for the investors. But one interesting thing is that the stock is approaching very crucial support zones of around 2200 level, from where we could witness a pullback. So it's more of a trading range stock. It's not, these stocks are completely, most of the stocks in the FMCG, they don't have a trend, even from a long-term, intermediate-term perspective. So that tells me that it's more of a range play. ITC has been an exception, but on the long-term charts, again, it's now showing signs of consolidation. And if I look at Marico, again, similar pattern on the charts. Nestle has been an exception to a certain extent, but again, now the trend has changed there as well. So most of the FMCG stocks, clearly they lack trend, and also the investor interest doesn't seem to be reflective on the charts.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's again get back into the Nifty. It's showing strength, 21,719. This is up about 77, 78 points. We were hoping for Nifty to have some kind of a profit booking, but for the moment, It doesn't seem so. We are already at 940. Yes, it's at a fresh intraday high. Remember, the all-time high for the index is 22,767. So let's see whether 750 is breached or not. At the moment, it's moved up from 22,680 to about 721. What are the stocks that are contributing to this uptick? Needless to mention, it's Reliance. Now it's 1.2% higher, 35.70, 29.62. Infosys slips a bit, but across the board, ladies and gentlemen, we have a decent uptick. You have HDFC Bank and Infosys mildly in the red. It's only Reliance which is holding the Nifty up. Let's see how it goes. In terms of stocks that are running up, it's Hindustan Aeronautics, days high, 1.6% higher, 306. You have a breakout happening on Radico Khaitan. This is a liquor maker, 1692. Fairly strong moves coming in here. And the month high on MCX. Remember, the last stock that we tracked in yesterday's trade was MCX. Very strong moves coming in there. Metals, gold, silver, aluminium, copper, all of those tradings are at hectic highs, and therefore you see the exchange responding equally well. Stocks that are buzzing as far as volume is concerned, we've already had almost 20 minutes of trade. Volume buzzers on NSE 500, ladies and gentlemen, are NMDC, 6.5% higher, 421. EID Parry, this is a stock that we checked yesterday as well, 4.5% higher, 636. Remember, it has a sprinkling of sugar and a lot of holding stocks, which make it immensely attractive to shareholders who look at holding companies. Vedant, 7.5% higher, already 120% the 5-day average volume as far as Vedant is concerned. MCX, 1% volume, 2.5% higher, 38.25. Hindustan Zinc, no letter. Remember, yesterday the stock was up 17%. 409 for you, 2.7% higher. Almost 86% of 5-day volume is done in the first 30-35 minutes of trade. No let up on KSB. Remember, this is a company headed for a stock split. 4285, 3.7% higher, 65% of volume done. Paytm, Policy Bazaar, Zomato, the internet space buzzing with gains. Sakshi.
Right, so that's the entire momentum in the markets. Amar, to you, specifically speaking on the entire auto ancillary space, which we haven't touched today. Of course, there's no substantial move on any one of them or something, but I think ancillary space is still buzzing. Sona BLW, some of these stocks, maybe the other ancillaries, tire space, Apollo Tires, that's also buzzing in space. But how are you really looking at the entire auto plus the auto ancillary basket now, and where do you find more value and more strength going forward?
So looking at the auto space, I would say that most of the auto stocks have been displaying very strong strength, be it Bajaj Auto, and also if you look at other stocks like Eicher Motors is also now broken out of a key zone of resistance. So that tells me that we are seeing some very strong strength. Again, I spoke about Exide earlier. So that again has displayed a very strong upside momentum. Looking at Hero MotoCorp, we are seeing some sort of consolidation there. Mahindra & Mahindra amongst the auto space is one stock which is extremely strong on the, I would say, one of the strongest charts to speak about on a long-term, intermediate-term trend, short-term trend. And also we've seen some significant volumes happening in the stock a few weeks prior. So that tells me that this is one stock one should definitely look at. Any correction is a buying opportunity. Currently it's around 2100 odd levels. Close to that level, the stock has got crucial support coming on the 1900 levels. So any pullback in the stock is a buying opportunity. Looking at Maruti Suzuki, again, very strong technically on the chart. So the auto stocks are displaying strength. Tire stocks are more or less consolidating. I spoke about Apollo Tires. If I look at MRF, again, we are seeing some sort of consolidation happening there. If I look at Tata Motors, again, Tata Motors very strong on the long-term charts. Intermediate-term trend, short-term trend, we are seeing some sort of consolidation. But overall, the pack is definitely positive.
Okay, so that's as far as the auto space is also concerned. Let's again revisit the markets and see where the action is picking up pace. Of course, Vedanta is the one that continues to top the charts as far as the F&O space is concerned, 6.5% higher, followed by NMDC. And then you have Petronet, LNG, Indigo, BHEL, and United Spirits and HPCL. These are the stocks that are buzzing in the F&O space. Among the top Nifty movers, again from the oil and gas basket, you have BPCL, you have Coal India, the Metals Pack, Tata Steel, Hindalco, you have Bharti Airtel, and Kotak Mahindra Bank and Reliance Industries now stepping higher in trade. From the banking space, Amar, is Kotak Mahindra Bank finally looking positive to you with the kind of time and again moves that it is displaying for the last few days? Do you think there is enough strength for it to be caught at this time?
See, Kotak Mahindra Bank, if you ask me, this is again one stock which really hasn't delivered returns for its investors since, I would say, almost 2 years. So the stock has been in for consolidation. And if you ask me, even on the long-term charts as of today, the stock clearly is in a range play. Now, for the stock to have any meaningful rally, the levels to watch out for is, I would say, 1800 to 1850. So currently it's trading above 1800 level. So that's one positive sign. What we are seeing, one again positive sign is that last few days we've seen some significant volumes compared to the average volumes and also delivery quantities. So both have moved in favor of Kotak Mahindra Bank. But for any meaningful rally, I'm seeing at least 10 to 12% sort of rally. If that rally has to materialize, then the stock needs to consistently sustain above the 1820, 1830 zone. And then we could see some upside move. But long-term charts are really are not displaying any strength as of now. It's more of a trendless stock, like most of the FMCG stocks.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's now 9:47. The only sector which has seen consistent moves is the PSU segment, which is now getting newer and better gainers as far as pricing is concerned. Manganese ore 4% higher, 347. Hindustan Petroleum 3% higher, 474. BPCL 2.5% higher, 600. Hindustan Aeronautics 2% higher, 3620. Container Corporation is 1% higher, 942. What else is buzzing? Within banks, okay, Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, all up between 0.5% and 1%. Strong moves coming in on JK Bank as well, 0.8% higher, 138. BEL, ladies and gentlemen, is taking it away. Fresh high, 232. This is a record high, therefore a daily, weekly and monthly high as well, 232. Amar, do you track this one? Any view that you would have on BEL?
Yeah, again, if I look at BEL, so BEL is one stock, I would say, very strong. We've been bullish on the stock for quite some time because the structure of the stock from a long-term perspective remains very strong. Yeah, we did witness the stock correct significantly from almost 216 levels to 180. And then from there, the stock has breached its earlier zone of resistance that was around 216 to 17. So yes, this is one stock one can definitely look at buying at the current levels. That is a big question because the risk-reward ratio might not be that favorable at the current levels because the stop loss needs to be below the 210 mark. So that is almost a 10% from the current levels. But any correction can be a buying opportunity in the stock. The stock has got very strong support coming around the 180, 200.
Okay. Let's again look at any of the other moves in the mid and the small cap space that we can spot. All right, Biocon from the pharma space has been inching higher. It's now 2.5% higher in trade. Remember, there has been buzz that Biocon could be looking to be in that race of, buying the patents in India for the weight loss drugs, and perhaps that's what is behind this move. How are you looking at Biocon, Amber? Is this a stock that you track from the pharma space? Of course, not a very exciting space it has proved to be up until so far, but what's next?
See, Biocon, if you look at the stock has been a wealth destroyer. It's not been a wealth creator. So the stock has corrected significantly from almost 500 levels, 490 levels, and to go as low as to 190. Currently, it's around 280. If you ask me on the long-term charts, again, it's more of a trading range. It's good from a trading perspective because the stock is not displaying any significant up move or the on the charts, long-term charts. So the levels to watch out for, I would say, is 290, 300 on the upside. If you're long, that's a level where you can look at booking profits. If on the downside the stock does correct, so buying levels could be anywhere around 240, 250. That's a good level to buy because so 220, 300. That's the zone which the stock is currently trading into. Also, what we are not seeing very significant increase in volumes or delivery quantity over the despite the market moving up. So I would say that one needs to be slightly, I would say, cautious, not cautious in the stock, but you need to be very clear that it's not a trending stock like we talked about BEL earlier. So it's more of a range play. But from a range play, it can be looked at. But 290, 300, that's the upside limit for the stock. Till the time it doesn't reach above that level, sustain over that level, I would say that it's more of a trend range.
Okay. So we are inching closer to winding up this special edition, and right now as we speak there is a 0.3% move on the Nifty. 22,720 can be seen on this one. Sectorally the action looks largely positive, barring the IT space that is slightly sluggish and the healthcare index as well. Rest of the sectors are all holding up, and of course it's the metals, oil and gas, real estate basket and the PSU banks that are inching higher in trade along with the mid and the small caps, and that's where all the momentum is at this current moment. When we talk about the PSU banking story, let's look at, because Canara Bank was something that Gaurang did mention as his top pick. It's again up 0.7%. It's Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, PNB, SBI and PSB and Indian Bank. Some of the other banks that are moving in trade right now. Amar, would you have a view on the PSU banking space, and where would you really keep your pecking order when it comes to selecting some of these second-rung PSU banks?
So if you look at the PSU banks, we are seeing that definitely there is interest in the PSU banks, and some of the stocks, if I look at, to talk about starting with Bank of Baroda. So Bank of Baroda, again, we are seeing some sort of consolidation, some sort of correction there. If I look at Bank of India, again, we are seeing some sort of consolidation, correction there. Bank of Maharashtra, similar view. Canara Bank is comparatively different in terms of the structure, is slightly better placed as compared to the other stocks which I talked about. If I look at some of the other names, like for example, Indian Bank, again, it's more or less some sort of consolidation happening. So PSU banks, what we are seeing is that there are lack of fresh triggers. So there is some sort of profit booking or some sort of consolidation happening. But if you ask me from a long-term perspective, they are still strong technically on the charts, and the momentum is there. Short-term intermediate, we are seeing some sort of consolidation. If that is being reflected in PNB as well, and I would say State Bank as well. So it's more or less consolidation, some sort of profit booking coming in, but the long-term trend still remains very strong for the PSU banks.
Okay, well, time to wrap up our special edition. Many thanks, Amar, for staying with us and helping us understand, the tone and the tenor of the market and where exactly to look for value in this space. 22,700 for the Nifty is holding on to that level. Let's see if that sustains through the end of the day, because it's the expiry session. About 0.25% uptick, and similar tune if you look at the Nifty Bank as well. It's holding around 48,870 odd levels. A 140 point of an uptick can be seen on this one. Metals, oil and gas, real estate in the thick of action. Mid and the small caps about 0.5% higher in trade. PSU banks 0.5% higher too. That's the tone and the tenor of the market. And just as we close, there is news that Fitch has revised outlook on China to negative now. I just wanted to mention that before we end the show. Fitch Ratings has revised the outlook for China's long-term foreign currency issuer default rating to negative from stable, and has affirmed the rating at A+. The outlook revision really reflects the increasing risk to China's public finance outlook as the country contends with more uncertain economic prospects amid a transition away from property-reliant growth to what the government views as a more sustainable growth model. So that's coming in from Fitch as well. We'll wrap it up at that, viewers, and thank you so much for staying with us on this morning edition. But do stay logged on to Business Today TV, as through the course of this day, we will continue to get you a lot of exciting conversations around earnings, around the outlook on the Q4, and several other key sectoral updates that we will continue to give you. So do stay with us on Business Today TV.
Our special guest in the newsroom is the BJP's longest serving chief minister. He was the #1 face of the BJP in Madhya Pradesh for almost 2 decades and now contesting as an MP, back as an MP. Shivraj ji, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. शिवराज जी, ये बताइए